Hi, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name's Jon Zaghloul. Great to have you here on Channel 59.3, BPOD TV and Roku. Big show today. The White Sox open up their season. Can they win a World Series? We'll talk about it in just a second. Before we get started, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. You can watch more of these shows. Search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com. If you want to watch more shows from the BPOD TV network, search up BPOD TV on YouTube. I want to start today with this. This is year 2 of the White Sox completed rebuild. It always takes time, too. Everybody last year so impatient, right? We heard about this all season. Why aren't the White Sox better? Why are they losing? Why'd they lose down the stretch? It's Tony La Russa's fault, too. We've heard this time and time again. Fans blamed La Russa. Fans blamed everybody but the players for the collapse that they had at the end of the year. Injuries played a role too, but the fact was, last year's White Sox team made a lot of progress. Think about it. First year, besides COVID, of this whole core together, won the division, played the Astros somewhat tough in the ALDS and lost. So be it. No matter what anybody else wants to say, the fact is last year was not a failure for the White Sox. It was a learning experience. Think about the Cubs in 2015. You know, the Cubs' PECOTA projection in 2015 was 83-79. They won 97 games. They won the wild card game. They won the NLDS, made it all the way to the NLCS, and lost. Maybe the White Sox didn't have that much success last year, per se, but we all knew, especially by the midpoint of last year, they were not winning the World Series yet. There were still problems, mainly injuries and a bad trade for Craig Kimbrell, which we'll talk about in a second too. When you don't have Eloy Jimenez, when you don't have Luis Robert, when other stars are injured, Lance Lynn, Carlos Rodon, of course you're not going to make it far. Of course you're going to have problems. Nobody played really a full 162. Everybody got hurt at some point last year. Tim Anderson, too, was hurt like 10 times. He was on the IL 10 different times and reactivated and then put back on it. There were way too many injuries for the White Sox last year. Now, this year could be the same story, and in fact, it kind of is already in spring training. You know what? The good teams overcome the injuries. And that's going to be the real test for the White Sox this year. I think on paper, when you look at this team, they have the talent to win everything. They have the talent to produce. Think about their roster. Jimenez, Robert especially with 30 home run potential, 100 RBI potential, and a 300 batting average. They got rid of Craig Kimbrell. No more having to worry about that. They picked up instead A.J. Pollock, who could play right field. That was the one big need that they had last year. I talked about that weekly when it came to the White Sox. I liked the Adam Eaton move, but obviously it didn't work, and he did not perform, and he turned out to be another clubhouse cancer, so they got rid of him. A.J. Pollock, known commodity. Everybody knows who A.J. Pollock is, and everybody knows his track record in baseball. He's posted one season with an OPS under 800. One. So he's pretty much guaranteeing you an OPS of 800 or more, which means at least 300 and 500 or 400 and 400 when it comes to on-base and slugging. Bye by me. Former All-Star, former MVP candidate back in Arizona, maybe not anymore, but a very good role player who knows how to hit the baseball. Last year, an 880 OPS. Very good. That's near superstar level and limited at-bats with the Dodgers, platooning out in right, left, and center. And to trade Craig Kimbrell, who I think is more of a liability than an asset, is perfect for Pollock. Everybody technically got what they needed, and I think even right now, the Sox won the trade easily. For some reason, Craig Kimbrell has not been the same since Boston, because we all remember with the Cubs what he did. He did nothing, except for last year, when it really didn't matter. Where was he when the Cubs needed him in 2019, 2020? Nowhere to be found. Or when he was somewhere to be found, you didn't want him in. 6 ERA, giving up home runs. That big Cubs collapse in 2019, part of it rests on his shoulders for what he did. His performance. Remember that home run he gave up to the Cardinals? What a joke. A grand slam in the ninth inning. I mean, ridiculous things. Things you wouldn't expect or you can't even fathom, he did in the wrong way. So for the Sox to get rid of him and his salary for A.J. Pollock, it's pretty much a wash when it comes to money. Pollock's owed $10 million now plus a $5 million buyout. Great move. And Pollock, contrary to Kimbrel, has more of a track record recently. Frank Kimbrel has not been good since 2017. I mean, really good, elite. And then part of last year. Half of last year and 2017 and all his time before that. A.J. Pollock, you know what you're getting. And that's a huge move for the White Sox in right field. I really can't emphasize that one enough. Still have Liam Hendricks in the bullpen, who started off rough last year, but he calmed down and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. To his credit, he's living up to his contract. The Sox paid him big money, and he's performing like a big money closer. It's Monty Grandal catching. Abreu's going to be at first, and Josh Harrison at second base with Leury Garcia. Platoon. Great. Love it. For those who don't know who Josh Harrison is, look him up. Definitely a team culture guy, but even more than that, former All-Star. One of the best players for the Pirates, actually, after Andrew McCutchen, when he left. Josh Harrison's big problem in recent years has always been his bat. He's a versatile player, can play many different positions, second, third, first, and the outfield as well. He's done all that before. It's just been the bat. When he hit well, he's an elite player. He was an all-star. Hitting 270, 280, 14 home runs, 60 RBIs. I'd love that out of a second baseman. If he could somehow rekindle that power and rekindle that run-producing ability at second base for the White Sox, my goodness, they're set. That was a one-year deal, too. That's a flyer. So if Harrison works, you get a discount. If he doesn't, well, you have Leury Garcia, you have other guys you could plug and play at second base. Third base, Yohan Moncada. I've always been back and forth on him, but he proved a lot in 2019, and so far we haven't really seen that too much replicated. I'd love to see it this year. I'd love to see him go off too. Moncada was a top prospect at one point in Boston. When they traded him, I thought, okay, we got a problem here. And why are the White Sox wanting him? Why would Boston get rid of a top prospect like that? But he's proven himself at times for the White Sox, Moncada. Just not all the time. And of course, Tim Anderson at shortstop. I love Tim Anderson, and he's turned into the best shortstop in Chicago. And that's not because Javi Baez is gone. Hear me out on this. Tim Anderson hits above 300 pretty much all the time. Maybe the power numbers are down a bit, but I'll take 300, 11, 12 home runs, 50 RBIs, and his culture. There was always a debate for many years between Cubs and Sox fans. Oh, who's better, Baez or Anderson? Last season, Anderson was the better shortstop. You know why? Doesn't strike out. Doesn't make stupid decisions at the plate and hit 230. Javier Baez last year was on pace to have 200 strikeouts and 50 walks. 60 walks. That is horrible. How are you even in baseball with that pace and those numbers? Should have been demoted at that point. Go learn how to hit in AAA again. Tim Anderson, to his credit, very patient. Does not walk too much, but also always makes contact, never strikes out. I love players like that. That's why I love Nick Madrigal for the Cubs. Always makes contact, never strikes out, doesn't walk too much, but I'll take that. Maybe that's old school. Maybe it's different for me, but you know what? I don't mind guys making contact. You're supposed to hit the ball. You're not supposed to go up to the plate and look for a walk. And it seems like today we have people encouraging it. Doesn't make sense to me. I get it being on base. I get it, boosting the on-base percentage. But you know what? If you strike out a lot, or if you're looking for a walk and you're not being aggressive at the plate, what good's that going to do you? See, that's an individual statistic, a walk. It only helps out the individual. Rarely does a walk help a team. Does a walk drive in a base runner? No, not unless the bases are loaded. Does a walk move guys over on the bases? Again, not unless somebody else is on base. A walk does not do as much as a hit for your team. In my opinion, it doesn't. So I love Tim Anderson's approach at the plate, and he plays good defense too. And in the outfield, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, A.J. Pollock, who we talked about, and then the DH too, Gavin Sheets, and a number of other guys could rotate in. This is a very solid lineup. 1 through 9, one of the best lineups in baseball, dare I say. And that's a fact. I mean, I could show numbers to prove that. Some of that is potential and embellishment, but you know what? If all these guys could live up to their projection, their potential, if there are no injuries, this team's going to be great. So that's not something to worry about, pure Sox fan. The rotation, not really either, depending on injuries. That's going to be the key. Lucas Giolito, Lance Lynn, Dylan Cease, Michael Kopech, Dallas Keuchel. Wow. Great rotation. 5 solid pitchers. But again, injuries. Lance Lynn got hurt a little bit. And on the bullpen, Garrett Crochet got hurt. So these are things you have to worry about if you're the White Sox. I think the one thing that will derail the Sox from World Series, or at least advancing the playoffs, are injuries. That may be true for every team, but especially for them looking at last year and now looking at this year in spring training. This is a team that gets injured too much. Plain and simple. Way too much. And if they want to be good, if they want to get to where they think they can, they can't be injured like this all the time. It's bad luck, but it's true. I don't want to say that injuries will be their Achilles heel. That's true for every team, but specifically for this team, yes. And the problem with that is all these guys perform. I'd love to sit here and tell you, hey, the problem could be, I don't know if they're going to perform. No. Everybody has performed, but the problem is, can they stay healthy? Can they stay healthy? This is a glass team. I saw on Twitter somebody saying, oh, this is a glass baseball team. It kind of is. Last year, injuries, big problem. This year, kind of the same thing already. And depth, but the Sox have added some depth. But injuries are the biggest issue for them right now. And that's the scary part. So I just really hope that they could work it out. If they stay somewhat healthy, or if everybody could come back healthy by June or July, then you're talking great things. See, that's the one thing, too. In baseball, many of you know this, you need chemistry. Maybe in every sport, yes, but specifically baseball. You got 8 guys behind you if you're a pitcher trying to help you out. You got a team. It's a team sport. You need chemistry between your teammates. You need to understand and have a flow of the game. Have a flow and understanding of who's playing with you. When you have different guys coming in all the time because of injuries, that's going to disrupt the flow and disrupt the mojo your team has. The Sox need everybody healthy by June or July, ideally. And they need to play together and play good baseball from July on. See, last year, they collapsed at the end of the year. And they had a great stretch in May and June, then for the rest of the year kind of played 500 ball, and that was their record. Learning experience, progress for the team, sure, but they didn't get to where they wanted to get to, or where fans wanted them to get to. Everybody wanted and clamored for a World Series, and while it could have happened, potentially, it didn't. Injuries and the learning experience of this team, being young, hurt them. This year, same manager, same core, out of the same roster, same players. But they've endured more experience overcoming adversity, injuries, and dealing with pretty much inexperience, really. So now all this has changed. They have more experience. They have new players, but some of the old ones too. This should be a quality baseball team. There is no reason why they don't win this division and why they don't at least win one playoff series. That would be a disappointment. If the Sox cannot win a playoff series like the ALDS or the wild card, we got a problem. We really do. The Sox spent a lot of money, believe it or not. This is the highest payroll in White Sox history, contrary to what people want to say. You could say Jerry Reinsdorf spends no money. This is the highest payroll in White Sox history. This is a combination of young guys and veterans, proven veterans, who are making good money. The investment has been made. The expectations are there. Something needs to give. We need to see results. And I don't blame them for what happened last year, dealing with injuries, dealing with inexperience. That's not my thing. But the problem is, don't have that happen again. Injuries are going to be common. We understand it. overcome them. You know how to now. You have the same manager. You have the same management. Same GM. Maybe moves are made near the trade deadline too. There are a lot of variables still out there, but this team has to do something this year. Something to show growth. Something to show that, hey, they are the core. They will be good. These are the things that scare me. I think personally, they're a lock to win the division. They're a lock to win one playoff series. But all these confounding factors could hurt them, could derail them, could make sure they don't make it anywhere. That's the scary part. That's something you have to watch out for if you're a Sox fan. Will the injuries derail them? Will the injuries cause them problems? Can they overcome them? Can they not repeat what happened last year? Leave last year in the past. Last year, first year with the core, trying to learn one another, learn how to win. I mean, that's part of it, learning how to win. And they learned the hard way. Can they recover? Can they improve? That's what we have to find out. We'll find out during the year, but that's going to determine how far they make it in the postseason and how well they do. And what their success is going to look like now and even into the future. This is year 2 of this core. Something has to get better. Hey, the Cubs in year 2 have won the World Series. I'm not saying comparable with them, but they won the World Series. The Sox just have to show improvement. Maybe some more regular season wins, some less dwindling of performance near the end of the year, and a playoff series win. That would be great. But a World Series shouldn't be out of the question either. And that was said a number of times. Rick Hahn already said they're still aiming for the World Series. Nothing's changed in their approach. They're spending more money. They brought in more players. They have their core. We all should be expecting something big from this team. And if they don't, that's going to be a disappointment. Yes. Last year, first year, I write it off personally. Not a disappointment. This year, though, if they don't get further, if they don't show improvement, that will be a disappointment. And it will stir up doubt in me about how good this core really is and how good this team is. But right now, based on talent, based on potential, based on what they have going for them and expectations, I like the White Sox chances. Let's just hope injuries and inexperience doesn't get in the way. Thanks for watching today's show here at VPod TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Really appreciate the time. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. You're going to watch more of this show. Search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com and tune in every night right here at 10:30 on VPod TV. So long, everyone.